Nice to meet you, Matt.
Hi, Andrew.
I love that there's this sense of mystery and kind of big question marks that kind of float over the head of George and Skyfox.
Yeah.
And I feel like early on, especially, there's this sense of who is he?
Mhm.
What was it like to play that? Because it felt like there were some purposeful choices early on for him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, playing George in 1929, that's really what I had to focus on. Because he was a mystery is sort of fun and sort of actually open ended for me. I sort of get to hopefully form a second character next year. George present day. Who really is he? Yeah, I mean, I think that you see George kind of this theatrical, larger than life guy. I think a lot of that stuff is there to cover up some of the pain in his life, but on the surface, it's really fun to watch and fun to play for me. Very, very interesting, complex character, and hopefully I get to play him again here.
I felt like you kind of stole every scene just because he is larger than life and he just kind of jumps in there.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that's what George intends to do. It's weird. It's almost like he wants all attention on him in order to distract from what's really happening on the inside. And I found that really interesting. It's to me, when you see him in a room with 99 eggs and butlers and servants, but not one single friend, it's an interesting thing. It's almost like he's trying to cover the lack of connection that he has with extravagance, because why not? Super interesting to play and just a very complex character. I feel like I'm still discovering things about him even now.
Obviously, there's not a lot you can say, but in terms of his relationship with Sheldon, how would you paint that over the course of this first season? What do you think stands out?
To me, his loyalty stands out. I think that in a world of extravagance and larger than life attitude, I think what is very real is his relationship and his care for Sheldon and even Walter. I know that doesn't come out. I think it comes out as kind of a bully in a way, but I think that, Ben Daniels and I, the more we've been doing interviews with each other, and we actually have been learning about each other's characters and how in some ways they're actually similar characters on opposite ends of the spectrum. I think George in some ways maybe doesn't like the weakness that he sees in Walter because he sees that in himself and tries to cover it. And maybe that's the reason he lashes out at that. He sees that as weak. I don't know. Again, I'm still discovering things about him, and I love that. But to go back to what you had originally said, yeah, I do think his relationship, his loyalty to Sheldon stands out. I mean, really, George is what drives this whole adventure. If George wasn't there, and he mentions that in episode 8, if you guys didn't think Sheldon, he thought he was off his rocker. George was the only one that went with him. And hey, George is the reason we're all sitting here with Powers, because they were going to commit Sheldon. And I think George's loyalty and his deep care for his friend helped push through.
I was talking to Leslie a little while ago about her costume. And so I'd like to ask you about your costume, because they are such unique costumes. I wonder what it was like being in it.
Well, when you first put it on, you feel pretty empowered. You feel pretty strong. It's kind of like every kid's dream. If you ever played in the sandbox or played superheroes when you were a kid, and to put it on, I'm not going to lie, you feel amazing. Everyone's looking at you, and you feel like a superhero. You feel like a different person. But you sit in there for about 15 minutes. You start sweating. Starts becoming hard to breathe. We're in these chairs that lean back. There's zero gravity chairs because you can't sit in a normal chair. You won't be able to breathe. They're really uncomfortable. So it quickly became a challenge to act in them. It's kind of a love-hate relationship with those things.
I'm sure you're happier being out acting in it rather than sitting in it.
That's true. At least I could breathe. But simple things like throwing a punch, it's becomes 3 times harder in a super suit. We've got layers of material. It's like wearing 3 wetsuits, which you can imagine is pretty restricting.
Well, thank you very much for the time. It was a pleasure chatting with you. I cannot wait to talk to you again for season 2.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.